Hello class, welcome back to the Chong channel. So today we're going to look at some parallelogram problems where it involves isosceles triangles. So just a review on what an isosceles triangle is. An isosceles triangle means that there are two equal sides, two equal angles. So if you look over here in this problem, it says in the diagram below, ABCD is a parallelogram. Line segment AB extends through B to E. So line segment AB extends through B to E. And line segment CE is drawn. Here it says if line segment CE, so that's this here, line segment CE is congruent to line segment BE, so we put the slashes, and measure of angle D is 115 degrees, it's asking us to find the measure of angle E. Well, first of all, before we even continue with this problem, here we have a triangle here, and we have two equal sides, which means we have an isosceles triangle. And when we have an isosceles triangle, two equal sides means there's two equal angles. Now, to find the angle that has an association with this side, we shoot an arrow across and it touches angle C. So therefore, angle C is congruent to, same idea here, from this slash, we shoot an arrow across and it touches angle B. So therefore, angle ECB is congruent to angle EBC. So once again, shoot an arrow across, touches angle C, shoot an arrow across, touches angle B. Now let's look at this next question here. Like I didn't really solve the other problem yet, but we're just reviewing this isosceles triangle concept. So here it says parallelogram PQRS. Line segment QP is extended to point T and line segment ST is drawn. If line segment ST, so this is line segment ST, is congruent to line segment SP, so this is where you put the slashes. Notice that this picture is different from here because I have to follow the order of what the problem says. So line segment ST is congruent to line segment SP, so we put the slashes. Here it says measure of angle R is 122 degrees. What is the measure of angle PST? So this is the question mark. So like we did before, here we have an isosceles triangle because we have two equal sides. So to find the angle that has a relationship between these two sides, I shoot an arrow across and I touch angle T. So we have angle T is congruent to, you shoot an arrow across, so it's congruent to angle P. So one more time, shoot an arrow across, touches angle P, shoot an arrow across, touches angle T. So angle SPT is congruent to angle STP. Now let's look at this problem here. In the diagram of a parallelogram FRED, below line segment ED is extended to A and line segment AF is drawn such that line segment AF, so this is line segment AF, is congruent to line segment DF. So this is line segment DF. So once again, here we have measure of angle R is 127 degrees, and it's asking us to find the measure of angle AFD. So this is the question mark. So just like in this problem and just like in this problem we also have an isosceles triangle situation. So two equal sides means we have two equal angles. So we have this congruent side, you shoot an arrow across, it touches angle D. And so I'm going to put a one loop here. And you shoot an arrow across from this side, it touches angle A. So therefore, angle FAD is congruent to angle FDA. Now let's actually solve these questions. So the main problem right now, the main point that I would have wanted to make today was really just focusing on these isosceles triangle part of the problem. Now to continue. So there are 6 parallelogram rules, but of the 6 in class, we focused on 3 parallelogram rules. The 3 being opposite sides are parallel, opposite angles are equal, and consecutive angles are supplementary. And supplementary means they add up to 180. Okay, so let's look over here. So here we have angle ADC is 115 degrees. Once again, we're focusing on a parallelogram. So the first rule is opposite sides are parallel. So then I'm going to put the arrows. These 2 opposite sides are parallel, and these 2 opposite sides are parallel. Once you have parallel lines cut by a transversal, you have all these congruent angles that you can think of, but more specifically in a parallelogram, we have opposite angles are equal. So if angle ADC is 115, then that means angle ABC is also 115. So let's plug that in. So opposite angles are equal. Now, if you look over here in this question, I could find these angles as well, but it seems like it's not necessary. So if you look over here, we have supplementary angles. If you did find this angle, you could also have used the z. So there's many different ways to approach this problem. So since we mentioned supplementary, let's go that route. So we have 180 minus 115, which is 65. So this angle here is 65 degrees, which also means this angle here is 65 since these are equal angles. Remember, this is an isosceles triangle. And so since a triangle adds up to 180, 180 minus these 2 angles put together would give us this angle we're looking for. So on the side, we'll do 65 plus 65, which is 130. And so 180 minus 130 is 50 degrees. And so the measure of angle E is 50 degrees. Is this the only way to solve the problem? No, but this is one way we can approach it. Now let's look at this problem here. We had the same situation here, an isosceles triangle, and we have this angle in a parallelogram. So once again, the first rule was opposite sides are parallel. So let me put the arrows. Next, we have opposite angles are equal. And so if angle QRS is 122, then angle QPS is also 122. Now, since I used the supplementary concept in this question, let me take a different approach in this problem. So instead of looking at it supplementary, let's use this final rule, which we have is called the consecutive angles are supplementary. So these angles here are consecutive. They are supplementary. So that means these 2 angles add up to 180. Likewise, these 2 angles add up to 180. These 2 add up to 180, and these 2 add up to 180. Let me just stick here since I want to get closer and closer to my question mark. So consecutive angles supplementary, so 180 minus 122 is 58. So here this angle is 58 degrees. Once again, consecutive angle supplementary. Now if you look over here, remember parallel lines? Do you see what I see? So this is that Z we're talking about, which we call alternate interior angles, which are inside the corners of the Z. So if this is 58, that means this is also 58 degrees. So let me put that one loop here. And notice that we have an isosceles triangle. So if this is 58, this angle here is also 58. But the whole triangle is supposed to add up to 180, so I'm going to find the sum of 58 plus 58, which is 116, and 180 minus 116 equals 64. So this angle here, measure of angle PST equals 64 degrees. PST. Now let's look at this last question. So these are all similar questions in the fact that they have a parallelogram next to an isosceles triangle. Same thing here, isosceles triangle, and we have a parallelogram. Notice that this is the question mark, so our goal is to bring this information closer and closer to question mark. And so let's start with the rule of parallelogram, opposite sides are parallel. So let's put the arrows. Next, we have the rule, opposite angles are equal. So if angle R is 127, then angle FDE is also 127. So just like we did over here, we could use alternate interior, but before that, we would have to use consecutive angles or supplementary. Here we use supplementary, and then we took the isosceles route. So you can do either way. Do the supplementary route or consecutive angle supplementary. I guess we'll do consecutive angle supplementary because that seems like the tricky one for students to see. So 180 minus 127 is equal to 53 degrees. So this is 53 degrees because consecutive angles are supplementary. Now, once again, we're looking at the Z. Do you see what I see? So these two are alternate interior angles. So if angle RFD is 53 degrees, then angle ADF is 53 degrees. And since we have an isosceles triangle, this is also 53 degrees, so 53 plus 53 is 106 degrees, but the whole triangle is supposed to add up to 180, so 180 minus 106 equals 74 degrees. So therefore, measure of angle AFD is 74 degrees. I hope that helped. Bye-bye.